This state-of-the-art facility will take shape. Upon completion, it will house the operations of the Divisional Headquarters 4A, featuring essential departments such as traffic, finance, the impact base, CID, amongst others. Some of the key features of this 12-4E complex will be a structure that's harmoniously blended with glass, concrete, and a robust structural steel frame, showcasing modern architectural elements. Ensuring safety, the building will be earthquake resistance up to magnitude 5.0. State-of-the-art fire detection and protection systems will be in place, inclusive of detectors, alarms, hose reels, and extinguishers. The complex will be equipped with advanced CCTV monitoring and access to control systems, enhanced security measures. A robust telephone and data network will facilitate seamless communication within the facility. With a capacity to accommodate 2,000 persons, this complex with a grid-tied power supply will be one that's unique to the landscape of Georgetown. To ensure accessibility, we'll have dual elevators and staircases, which will be strategically placed. As we turn the sod today, let this symbolize not only the commencement of construction, but also the resilience and determination of our country to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, stronger and more powerful than ever. Together, let us look forward to the day when this new Brickdam Police Station stands as a testament to our resilience, unity, and commitment to the well-being of our country.
I'm grateful to the government of Guyana for continuing to repose confidence in Bassoo construction. We intend to deliver this project before the contract's completion date and without compromising quality. Having held discussions already with the top brass of this division and the Home Affairs team regarding logistical issues and site organization, please know, Mr. President, that we will not impede the vital works of the Guyana Police Force during construction.
Coming out of these type of infrastructure development, it's modernizing the force with all the components needed whenever we're dealing with issues of domestic violence, we deal with issues of ID parade, just to name a few. But more importantly, it creates an impact in terms of conduciveness and efficiency coming out of the Guyana Police Force. And so this coincides with the transformation we are trying to achieve, moving from a Guyana Police Force to a Guyana Police Service. You cannot do this transition without the right infrastructure in place. And I'm happy to be the Commissioner of Police during this period when we're going to create history. We're going to have a 12-story building.
I want to thank President Irfaan Ali, who himself came on that day when we had the big conflagration, and we determined that we will move ahead to something new here. Unfortunately, it forced upon us a capital infrastructure in an unplanned way. So we are at a defining point, not only in terms of the building, but specifically in relation to how we engage. And so I want again to thank you all, to recommend that we at the Ministry of Home Affairs remain engaged in this issue, that the Cabinet, and more particularly and specifically the President, is engaged on this issue. We rely on his support and the support of others.
Now, it's important for us to understand that security is not unintegrated or unintended. What do I mean? There is a reason why we have the joint services and why we refer to the joint services. Because for the security architecture, for the national security architecture to function in a holistic way, in a comprehensive way, and in unison, it requires every facet of the security apparatus of the country to function in a seamless way. So the security architecture is linked to the security apparatus. The security apparatus is basically all facets of our security structure in the country working in an integrated way. And I want to make this very important point because sometimes we see the development of this building, for example, in isolation of what is happening in the national security architecture. And it is important for us to understand the national security architecture and what is the aim of the national security architecture. And the national security architecture is not just to reduce crime or to look at all the stats on serious crime, simple larceny, and all of these things. That is on the decline. But the security architecture is to develop a culture of safe living in the country. And that is what is proactive policing and intelligent policing. It is how the police and how the security architecture build its capacity to help the country in developing a culture of living in peace. And that is far different from fighting crime. That is proactively engaging community through community initiative, community policing, through deploying the intellectual capabilities of our security architecture to infuse in the population a new model of thinking, a new structure of thinking, a thinking that leads them away from crime. And then the government has a responsibility of building institutions, building facilities, and building an economy that gives every single citizen an opportunity to prosper and an opportunity to enjoy a good standard of living under the development of a culture of peace and prosperity. And the security architecture of the country must be able to do this. Sometimes we are of the mistaken view that security is about running behind two criminals, stopping the man who is speeding. But the more important task is teaching the person not to speed. It's building the system that disallows the person from speeding. It is about how do we train the mind and train the thinking process of our citizens to avoid crime. And that is one of the key components of this security architecture that we are building. And if you look at the Guyana Police Force, you have 1 PhD, 3 lawyers, 6 persons with LLB, 14 persons with master's degree, 51 persons with a first degree, 87 persons who are now trained as special prosecutors. They have diploma in as special prosecutors, and then 92 persons with diplomas from university. This tells you the story that we have this intellectual capacity and capability in the Guyana Police Force to do the type of work that I've alluded to. And if I go to the Guyana Defense Force and I go to Kanu, the story is the same. And one of the new dynamics that we are experimenting on as we build out this infrastructure is how do we create results-based security? How do we convert the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, the Guyana Prison Service into results-based organizations? And how do we link result-based performance into the welfare and well-being of those who are given the responsibility of our national security architecture? These are things that are key for us to consider. I want to assure you that when I said in 2015 19 going into 2020, that we want our people to retire in dignity, that was a very loaded statement. Although we have made the adjustments in the Guyana Police Force, we are still examining ways in which we can ensure upon your retirement, whether as a constable or as a commissioner, that upon your retirement, you retire in dignity based on the service that you have delivered to the country. And this is something that is uppermost in my mind at this moment. How do we allow even a constable, sometimes who served 20 years, a sergeant who retires after serving 33 years, ensuring that those individuals retire in dignity? But that end product must be linked to your cycle in the police force. I examined some structures across the world. Upon retirement, they examine the number of cases you prosecuted. They examine the number of arrests you made. They examine the number of convictions you helped in. They examine the totality of your service, not just a numbering system. We have gotten too accustomed to service being a numbering system, how many years you serve, and not the quality that is inherent in the service that you give. And that is the difference between quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. And that is the direction with which we want to go. Now, if I'm to turn the sod or cut the ribbon of every single project we're going to do this year, I'll have to do it twice every day across the country. Because in the Guyana Police Force alone, I want to give you an understanding of what we're doing. We are building out for the first time a Marine division that would be capable of utilizing our river asset in crime positioning, crime fighting, and proactive intelligence work. So right now we're in the process of acquiring state-of-the-art marine asset to support the work of the Guyana Police Force. Outside of this, we are building an air capacity and capability for the Guyana Police Force that will be integrated with the Guyana Defense Force, because we are going to move a lot of our air capacity and capability to the new hangar at Ogle that the Guyana Defense Force is constructing and rehabilitating right now. We hope in that hangar to not only add to the air capability and capacity of the Guyana Defense Force, but to add 2 modern pieces of equipment to support the air division of the Guyana Police Force, that includes chopper, that includes drone capability, so that it will further enhance our crime fighting capability and advanced capability. So what we are doing is integrating, creating an integrated joint services in terms of this asset positioning and its asset base. In the Guyana Police Force, for example, we will have an integration between the chopper, the seacraft, what I call the seacraft capability, the air capability, and the land capability. Of course, in the land capability, we're already investing heavily in bikes, in the motor vehicles, in buses, in ATVs. So we are building that capability out. The other thing that we are looking here at is our human resource asset. So what we want to do is to move as much of the services from Eve Leary into this new facility that we are building here. Because we want to free up Eve Leary to be primarily the police academy, to support the work that we are going to do in building out a world-class, state-of-the-art police academy to serve all of this region. We are building a police academy to serve all of this region. When I said our prosperity must lead to the regional prosperity, this is what I meant. Building our capacity to be leaders not only in Guyana but in the region, so that we can have officers, we can have youngsters joining the police academy here in Guyana and then working throughout the region. At the center of all that we are doing is digitization and automation, because we want to remove the human bias in our security architecture. So everything will be done through traceability. Everything will be done through traceability. The entire system will be on a digital platform that is fully automated, where people will be held accountable by a system. So digitization and automation will be key components. Only the other day, I went on one of my usual spot check at immigration after arriving in the country. And this did not come by accident. This came because I had reports that there is slothfulness at the airport. When I went there, I observed that there were 2 immigration officers who were processing people at an average of 20 seconds. And there were some processing at an average of 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Right there, we stood up, we examined the system. We made the observation. The Commissioner of Police was there. We made the observation to the officer in charge. And at an average, each passenger was processed between 20 to 30 seconds. What that tells you? We have the capability, but sometimes the attitude does not match the capability. And we have to correct these things. That is why I give the example of good officers and officers who are not performing, not that they're not good, they're not performing at their optimal capability. And when they don't perform at their optimal capability, the entire system is branded. That is why we have to support each other. We have to rely on each other. And we have to integrate what we do together to deliver a better service. So digitization, automation, infrastructure, service, and people are the forefront of what we are doing in building into the future today. This building is an example of us building into the future today. In the Guyana Defense Force, there too, we are modernizing. We are focusing a lot on border consolidation, looking at our assets, our infrastructure, our people, repositioning our assets, infrastructure, and people, building out new assets, building out new capability, enhancing our Coast Guard to effectively monitor our EEZ, bringing in a modern drone system, and modernizing our aviation section and our air capability enhancement. We are building out our hard and software, integrating our hardware and software through enhanced technology, building out an infrastructure and capability that will give us more mobility and enhance our accessibility across the country. So this year, I'm using this opportunity to give you an insight into the type of investment that will be made this year in building out this national security architecture. At Kanu, very soon we'll be turning this out for your new headquarters. We are building at Kanu a regional integrated system that will allow KANU not only to function effectively out of the city, but to function out in every single region with same efficiency, same capability, and with the same ability to proactively work against those who try to destroy our society with drugs. An important part of what we're doing with KANU also is to build its capacity to integrate with other regional structures in the Caribbean, in Latin America, and of course with our partners in the Western Hemisphere. That is why the structure of KANU will reflect this new approach to the work that they do. In the fire service, we are building our capability and capacity, enhancing our infrastructure, building our human resource capacity. And of course, we are now going to implement a system of accountability because we are not satisfied that we are getting the full value for the investments we are making in the Guyana Fire Service. And I'll be very frank with you. The fire chief will tell you that. But we're going to continue to build the capability and capacity of the Guyana Fire Service this year. Not only with new fire tenders and more technologically advanced pieces of equipment, but education to the population, education in the school, education to the private sector. And importantly, we are going to build our capacity in every NDC across the country with what we call mobile firefighting unit. One of the important things that we're going to do this year is to train the volunteer fire brigades in all the different communities across our country, the NDCs, so that we can have faster response, quick response time, and then give them the capability to work in these communities. The Guyana Prison Service is also seeing severe modernization in terms of technological capability, the training of its human resources, the building out of new infrastructure, the enhancement of its asset base. So all of these investments are made so that we can have what we call this national security architecture in place and intact to meet what would be the requirement of our country as we build into the future. So today, I want to congratulate all the stakeholders, all those who work tremendously hard, our negotiators, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and of course, the Guyana Police Force. The contractor, I'm sure that I had a talk already with the contractor, and I am very sure that this project will come in long before time, and that we will have a project that all of us can be proud of. So I want to take this opportunity to wish the Guyana Police Force, all our men and women in uniform, great success this year, and know that we are working together to ensure not only we have a better national security architecture, but to ensure that all of you have a better life ahead of you. I thank you and God bless you.